Nooma.
There's this billboard for a cell phone company on the freeway near where I live. And it says that if you purchase this new phone, you'll be able to get it done. And I was thinking, somebody should rent the next billboard down the freeway and put a question on it. Get what done? Because I'm not that convinced that many people really, truly need an even better cell phone with more features. But it seems like a lot of people never stop moving, going from place to place, meeting to meeting, so busy. And yet life in some sense is passing them by. Like they're doing so many things, a little bit of everything, and yet it isn't much of a life. There's a story told about Jesus in the book of Mark. He's in this village called Capernaum, and he's healing all these people. And the next day, his disciples go to look for him, and they find him, and he's all alone, and he's praying. And they say to him, everyone's looking for you. And why is everyone looking for him? Because he's been healing people. He's been doing that thing that he does. He's been fixing things. He's been making things right. And Jesus' answer to them, he says to them, let's leave. Let's go somewhere else. Let's go to the other villages so I can preach there also, because that's why I've come. And then he leaves. There's this whole village that wants him to stay, and he basically says, nope, gotta go. I mean, there's this opportunity to do so much good, to help so many people, and he turns it down. Jesus doesn't do everything. And his reason is that he has to keep moving. Now this movement, we see it even more clearly in the book of Luke. In chapter 9, it says that Jesus set out resolutely for Jerusalem. And then in chapter 13, it says that Jesus was teaching as he made his way to Jerusalem. And then in chapter 17, it says that Jesus was headed to Jerusalem. And then in chapter 18, he tells his disciples that they're headed to Jerusalem. And then in chapter 19, it says that Jesus went on ahead, making his way to Jerusalem. You begin to get the sense after a while that Jesus is headed somewhere, and that somewhere is Jerusalem. It's not like he's some sort of, pre-programmed robot who has no control over his life. I mean, he gets interrupted along the way. Actually, a lot of his teachings are his responses to the questions that people ask him along the way. But he can't be everything to everybody. So it isn't just that he's going to Jerusalem, but it's way more than just that he's going to a particular city. It's that he has a compass. He has an orientation. He has a way to orient his life, a path that he's on. Jesus says no because he's already said yes. He's very clear on what his life is about. Do you have a hard time saying no? Or perhaps there's a better question. What is it that you have said yes to? Because you can't say no until you've said yes to something else. So it isn't really a surprise that when his disciples find him, he's all alone and he's praying. And he's just been surrounded by this crowd that has all these expectations of him. I mean, there's all of these people, and they have very strong opinions about what he should be doing and who he should be doing it for. And so Jesus retreats, he withdraws to check himself, to listen to God, and to make sure that all these voices haven't pulled him off track. You never see Jesus doing anything out of obligation. You never hear him saying, oh, I guess I should because I'm supposed to. That's actually the tension in the Gospels, is he's willing to go against the expectations of the crowd in order to be true to the few things he is pursuing. He doesn't let what everybody wants direct his path. And you never see Jesus stressed or worried that he's going to let people down or worried about what people are going to think. And you never hear Jesus saying, oh, I'm just so busy. The Danish philosopher Søren Kierkegaard said that a saint is the person who can will the one thing. He was talking about the kind of person who knows exactly what their life is about. You have a life force. You have these God-given energies. And if they aren't focused and disciplined in really specific sorts of ways, if these energies aren't focused on something, we get pulled off track. They get diffused and they dissipate and they get spread too thinly and they just aren't as strong as they could be. But when you will the one or the few most important things, you're focusing your God-given energies. Do you find yourself saying on a regular basis, I'm just so busy, or we have so much going on? Why? Why? I mean, if we were to look at your calendar, all the things you're involved with, where you're going, what you're doing, and we were to ask the question, why? Being busy is a drug that a lot of people are addicted to. I mean, now obviously there are seasons in life, somebody close to you has gotten sick, or you're starting a job or a business, or it's something to do with school or your family, but we must examine the rhythms of our life if we're ever going to will the one thing. I heard this guy recently say that he's drowning in good. See, the enemy of the best isn't always the worst. Sometimes the enemy of the best is the good. It's when we become so busy doing all these good things that we have no energy left to will the one thing. I was with my family and we were at the beach walking along the ocean, and my boys were running around ahead of us, behind us, and they were finding all of these shells, only they weren't really like full shells. They were almost like these fragments and little pieces of shells. And I mean, they're still amazing in their complexity and design, but nevertheless, just these like little tiny pieces of like shell shrapnel. And so we're walking along and I look up ahead and I see something floating in the water and I think, is that it? It is. And we all look out, and there, floating offshore about 30 feet, is a huge starfish. And it's just kind of bobbing there peacefully in the water. And so as a family, we stop and we're just watching it. And one of my boys gets this look in his eyes like, that starfish is mine. And so he charges into the water. And he gets partway in and he turns and he runs back up onto the beach. And we're all like, that's your starfish, go get it, go get it. And he turns around and he runs back into the water and he gets even farther out this time, and then he stops and he charges back up onto the beach, and he's getting more and more agitated and anxious, and we're like, what's the problem? Go get it, it's right there, you can get it. So he charges back and he goes even farther into the water this time, and at the last minute turns around and runs back up onto the beach, and he's getting more and more frustrated, more and more anxious, and we're all saying to him, what's the problem? Just get it. Why can't you get it? He says, I can't do it. And we say, why? And he says, because my hands are filled with shells. Is this you? So busy doing so much that your hands are filled with shells? And some of it, all of it, may even be good, but you can't grab hold of the starfish. May you drop your shells in the pursuit of a simple, disciplined, focused life in which you pursue the few things God has for you. And may you be like Jesus, able to say no, because you've already said yes.